Hey, welcome back to another video. If you saw on my community page, I was working on a Metalcore sample pack, something that you could get right into Ableton without having to pick up an instrument, or if you have to like set up your drum tracking, your mics, whatever it might be, or set up an amp. This is just so that way if you are trying to kind of get a demo going, or if you want to get something like fully going, up to you, but more so on the demo lines where you can come in here and you have everything already in one folder and you can kind of build something out. So I just put together a small little demo of what some of the things sound like, and then I can go through them. The link is going to be in the description for it, so if you want to check it out, you're supporting me, and hopefully it's going to help you in your production. So here's what I have put together. This is all stuff that I have in the pack. The only thing I don't have in here is just like a Serum or a VST of your choice. Here I'm using BA1, but we'll go through it shortly. So here's what we got. So just a pretty simple like idea here, but just to show you kind of what comes in it and what you can do. So first thing I have here is a drum library. So I took this, some of the samples from some of my favorite libraries in Contact, just to like give you an idea of what some Metalcore drums would sound like in Contact. So I'll go ahead and show you. This is our kick, our snare, just give you an idea of what some drums would sound like. So the drums sound like this. You could definitely get these to sound pretty good if you wanted to use them in place of an actual drum kit. I think these will do the job, especially for like a fraction of the prices you would pay for like the Get Good drums or the Ode Hold drums or stuff like that. But just like as a starting point, especially if you are not making money from music and you can't justify spending, you know, $200, $300, $400 on drum libraries. So I have basically in here, you can go through here and you can click each one. You can actually adjust the volumes in here if you just click, or if you like how they are and you just want to mess with velocities, you can go in here and you can change the velocities like I have here to control the volume. If you don't want to do any of like this stuff digging in here and you just want it to be simple, you could just collapse all this stuff and actually collapse it all the way. And then you can go in here and you can do like the gain, compression, and then this is sidechain for the actual like cymbals. So if you need the cymbals to duck more when the kicks and snares are playing, you can just use this. So that's basically just tied to the cymbals, and then it will duck when the kicks and the snares are playing. Now for the bass, what I did here was, you can see kind of how it works here. I went through and I chopped up every single note from C to all the way up to B2. And then what you're doing here is you can actually just play it like you would a regular bass. And I have a sub layered with this. So oftentimes you are missing a lot of low end from the bass, like it's just not enough to fill in. So I'm already layered the sub there. That way you can just have something that sounds pretty full right out the get-go. And then I just have some compression on here, a little bit of distortion, some saturation, some multiband compression, and then this is just sidechain here at the end. But this is just how I would kind of process this. And I'm going to put this whole project in the description, not that it's a big one, but just to show you how I would do some things here if you want to like start with this template and then move forward. After that, this is the actual electric guitar. So you can get some cool, you know, ideas down here. So basically what this is the same deal as the bass guitar. I went through and I chopped up every single note, added it to the sampler. And then you can actually adjust the attack here if you don't know how the sampler works. If you go into filter and global, you can adjust the attack. So I moved it up a little bit more, but if you want a little more of a click, you can just put this down to 0 and it'll have that kind of like pick attack. I boosted a little bit of the high end here and then add some reverb and again that compression for the sidechain. But just as itself, I think this will do the job, especially if you're just trying to get an idea down. But if you want to get a little bit more technical with it and you're actually producing, I think this could be also good. You can use it, you can pan it left to right, add some different effects, things like that. Now, I just wanted to add like a little part here just to show you like you could do like chords with it if you really needed to. I just copy and pasted the same effect chain with the sampler going, and then if you needed to play like a I don't know, C major chord, could if you really need to. I just have this at 2 voices since I'm just playing these 2 notes here. And then up here, I'm using one of the effects racks. So again, using the sampler for the electric guitar, I have a shifter on here, and then I'm using the spooky pad rack on this one. So if you just play a note here without it, let's go ahead and turn off all the effects here. Leave the sampler on. So no effects. With the effects, just makes it sound kind of spooky. And then you can mess with some of the knobs here if you wanted more reverb, and then the OTT. You can just make it sound as spooky or not spooky as you want. Wanted to make it simple with just with 2 knobs, like we don't really have to think about it. And then I'm using the Eerie rack here on the second one on the synth. If we take this off, and then if you turn it on, you can get some cool noises out of it. So like even for example, if we went in here, let's do like a pad sound from BA1. And then let's go ahead and get this Eerie pad on here, Eerie rack. I'll just play a note here. Let's turn the sustain all the way up. Let's randomize it. And of course, you could really do whatever you want with that, but it gets a little distorted. You can of course adjust some effects just to make it like less distorted, but I think it's cool. So like what you could do is, let's say for example, you wanted this piece here, make sure that this starts. Bounce it in place. And then what you could do is like just put the spooky pad rack on top of it. And then you have like an atmosphere. What you could also do if you want to get really technical with it is you can go in here, you can add like an LFO, and this comes with Ableton, so it's nothing extra. You can map some of these parameters here. It's like if I just wanted to do like a bunch of different things here, and then maybe you just want to do it like this, do it really slow. Maybe I want to do the shape like a little bit weirder. You could do it like something like this to where it's changing while you're playing it. And then you can turn around, resample it, do some cool stuff with it, and get some like unique atmospheres that I don't think other people are doing. Not off the top of my head, but some of you could definitely do. And then one more thing that we have in here is just a plain guitar amp. And if you actually just turn down all these effects here, it just sounds like a, just like a little plucking guitar type deal. But if you start to turn on some effects, you can get it to sound kind of like gritty and cool. But if you want to use like your own amp on here, like if you have something like Neural, you put this on here. If you wanted to use like a different preset, you could just mess around with things and get some ideas going. And then one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is there's a few vocal racks in here as well. So we have a metal, like a harsh metal vocal rack. So this is for like any screaming or harsh vocals. Okay. We have a effects vocal rack. So if you wanted to take some vocals and you wanted to make them like really panned out, like if you wanted to do some layers or something like that, you could use that for it. And then a clean vocal chain. And that's just going to be like if you have, some pre-recorded vocals that you want to make sound better, or if you are a singer, you could throw that on there just for something easy to make your vocals sound pretty good, to have them sit in the mix without having to go through and pick out exactly which things you want to add, etc. So if you want to know exactly what's in the pack, you can either look here or look down below. I have a link to my Gumroad. Hopefully this is something that you guys can all use. And hopefully if you do choose to use it, it's really beneficial towards your workflow. But with all this being said, thank you for checking out the video. Again, that pack link is in the description, and we will see you again in the next one.